Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Gyanatvaranasya Gyanatvanasvakaya Satsu Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Maha Sachetanya Manomistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadavadam Kadatu Sadhadatikam Vande Sri Gurun Sri Yudhapadakamala Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Chansi Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Shitam Chankajira Sadveta Sarvadurta Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Vishakam Vitam Cha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapati Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Tata Kanchana Korangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabham Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalaparivacha Vipasvacha Chitanam Prabhu Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodata Buddhaya Bhagato Jidata Jitmam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Yes, Ramchandra, what do you want us to do?
Govardhan fasting.
Huh?
Lessons from Govardhan fasting.
Govardhan fasting. Okay. So, so there was there's a beautiful narration about the appearance of Govardhan. If we talk about lifting of Govardhan, we need to have some understanding about the background. We call it the background study. The background of Govardhan. I think most of you know about Pulaski Muni. So he was traveling some time back, and then he went to see Govardhan's father. And you know, as when sages visit people, you normally will offer people. It's common to say, "What can I do for you?" But the point is, if you're not ready for the request, that some of the requests may not be pleasing to you. If you ask, "What can I do for you?" and then the sage says, I want this, I mean, like the case of Ramachandra. Sometimes the sage visits, and you know, the king or the householder would say, "Yes, what can I do for you?" Or, "Maharaj, what can I do for you?" So Pulaska visited, and Govardhan father, after giving him all of the kind reception and everything else, he asked that, you know, "What can I do for you? How can I serve you?" Yeah, it's a common language in our ISKCON society. "Prabhu, how can I serve you?" So he also asked his money, "How can I serve you?" And he was attracted to his son, so he said, I want your son to accompany me." And it was like, it was a heart-breaking request. We have a breaking news. This was a heart-breaking request. When we get a request from a sage for a saintly person, to say no could be a problem, because you risk befitting, foregoing all of your credit, pious credit. You risk destroying your spiritual life. So he was not willing. Father of Govardhan was not willing. Who knows his name? Who remembers his name? Father of Govardhan. Nobody? Huh? Amen? Anybody who knows? What is the name of Govardhan's father? Huh?
Govardhan's father.
Pulastamoni? No. Pulastamoni is the visitor. The sage who visited his father, and then in father, after giving him all the warm reception, asked, "What can I do for you?" Huh? Dorachal, yeah. So, yeah. He was heartbroken. I mean, it's exactly what happened to Ramachandra's father. Next time when you have a holy person visit you, be careful what you say. If you say, "Well, how can I serve you?" And they make a request and you're not able to fulfill it, then your whole spiritual life is damned. So better perhaps to keep quiet. I remember in those days when I was young, I was managing the temple and I was in Africa at the time. And sometimes some devotees would come and ask, "Oh, Vasudeva, what service can you give me?" And when he asked them to do some service, they say, "Oh, that is too much." So Dhruvacha was heartbroken when, Pulaski make this request that he wants to go. He was attracted to Govardhan. Man, Govardhan is not just an ordinary mountain. And therefore, when eventually, if Dhruvacha agreed, he said, speak with the boy. Speak with the boy. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with your request, but speak with the boy. He's the one who wants to go with you. So you want to speak with him, and then Govardhan said, "Oh, well, I don't have a problem, but we will make a deal. How are you going to take me there?" I said, "I'll just put you on my palm. And we're gone." I said, "Okay. Imagine a mountain on your palm." And it just shows how these great sages, these great monies, they're very powerful. Sometimes we don't seem to understand how powerful the results that have accrued from the studies of these great personalities, the type of potentials at their disposal, the type of potency that they have. A mountain, you say, "Oh, I'll put you in my palm," and then we'll be gone. So Govardhan said, "It's okay. But you know what? When we start the journey, we're going to the south. When we start the journey, non-stop. Like non-stop flight." And Pulaski was so much excited that Govardhan agreed, so he just agreed with everything. But Govardhan has strategized what he would do. And so they started the journey. And then as they were passing through Mathura district, he saw Vrindavan, and then he remembered the spiritual world. He's actually coming from the spiritual world. So he remembered, go look at Vrindavan. And so he devised a means to go down there. So he became heavier down the heaviest. And pull out. The money couldn't take it anymore. He said he wants to pay the call of nature. So he stopped. He put him down. But in agreement is that he wouldn't have to stop anywhere. And part of the agreement was that if he puts him down, he will not budge. He will not move. And the morning he was so enthusiastic about taking him, to his heritage. It's very good serenity for meditation, for yoga practice. And so he put Govardhan down. And then he went to pay the call of nature. He did, after performing all of his oblations, he came back, happily to continue the journey. But no way. He tried to lift Govardhan, no way. He was not liftable. He was too heavy. So he tried by all possible avenues. And there was no way. So he got upset. He got angry and cursed Govardhan. Now, because you refuse to come with me, you will be reducing this amount, like the specific measurement given in the Puranas, whether it's a mustard seed or so. But you will be reducing on daily basis. You will be reducing like that. Otherwise, Govardhan originally was just too hard. So, following the cause of Pulaska, Govardhan began to reduce in size. You see, the sages, it is very, 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 very unhealthy to offend any holy personality. Very, very dangerous and unhealthy to offend. Although Govardhan is from the spiritual world, and is an associate of Lord Krishna. It's not, in fact, it's not different from Lord Krishna. But because of that offense to the Muni was angered. Remember, even the Jaya Vijay, who could have cursed them? But then they challenged the four Kumaras. Hey, come on, you're not entering here. A small voice. To hurt somebody in devotional service could be so detrimental. And so, Govardhan, following that case, he began to reduce in size gradually. Small, small, small. For a long time, he's been reducing in size. If it was not so big, and in terms of height and width and breadth, it would have been gone. But until today, if you go to Govardhan, you see this heavy mountain. And so that is just the background of the appearance of Govardhan in the Mathura district, right there in Vrindavan. And the glories of Govardhan are so unlimited. You see, traditionally, you go to any forest or any mountain, deers and lions, they don't hang out together. Deers and lions. Deers are prey to lions. And the deer can't even run away from the lion because the lion moves faster, several times faster than the deer. The deer is food for the lion. But you know what? On Govardhan Hill, the lions and the deers, they live together without being preyed on. Can you imagine that? Do you believe that? So sometimes the things we hear, they're incredible. And it could make someone to be doubtful. But look, if we also just imagine how a mustard seed, what's the name of this tree that spreads all over? What's the name? A big tree? A banyan tree is just a small seed. Small seed. So sometimes to input our faith in terms of quality and quantity of our faith in devotional service in Krishna, we need to just appreciate what could happen if Krishna comes here. Or how could Krishna impregnate a big banyan tree in a small seed? Or how could Pulaska carry a whole hill, mountain on his palm? And therefore, lessons to learn from this background of Govardhan manifestation in Mathura and Vrindavan is one, we have to be careful how we deal with each other in devotional service. I give you another very raw example that it's just unimaginable. Imagine, do you know that Akura got some reactions by coming to take Krishna, by the order of Kansa, he came to take Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. Are you aware that Akura incurred some sinful reactions? Akura is a pure devotee of the Lord. Akura, yeah. So, the process of devotional service could be very simple. And it could be simpler if we understand the implications of being lovingly disposed and being able to see each and every one, as Krishna mentioned, Gita, as part and parcels of Krishna. Mama, Evam, So, Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta, Sanatana. I was in Montreal some time ago, and then the one brahmachari was traveling with a group of devotees on traveling Sankirtan Hari. And he came to meet me to ask, Maharaj, what can I do to help these devotees who have dedicated their lives to Prabhupada? What can I do to help them grow in their spiritual life? I said, I have the solution. You want to hear it? He said, yes. I said, train these devotees who are traveling with you, who have sacrificed their careers and their social life, traveling with you to distribute the holy names, distribute Prabhupada books. Treat them, love them the way you will love your beloved sibling, younger sibling. You know what? He looked me right in the face. He looked at me right in the face and he said, Maharaj, this is very difficult. I said, what is difficult? We preach that we are part and parcel of Krishna. It means we are one family. But if you don't, how are you not going to be offensive to somebody if you don't love them like a beloved? If you love them like a beloved, the situation, the concern of being offensive to somebody is ruled out. Even your own child. Oh yeah. And so finally, in the case of Akura, although Akura came to fetch Krishna, and when Akura came to fetch Krishna, those of you who remember the incident, the very graphic scenario in the 10th canto, some of the gopis, they came and they lay flat on the road. Instead of Krishna to go, Krishna should crush them dead with his chariot before he goes to Mathura. And Krishna would stop and placate them passionately. And again, we see how the Bhagavatam is so rich. We may read the scriptures like a story where it's purifying. But look at the content of that. In the case where Akura was driving Krishna on a chariot, Krishna and Balaram to Vrindavan, and the gopis came to block the road. They couldn't pass. You know how Krishna placated them? He spoke to the gopis in euphemism. He told the gopis, "Hey, I'm going to pacify cancer." They understood. That is a euphemistic statement. Euphemism is a Polish language, something you know is really bad, but you use a very nice language to quote it. And it looks sweet. This is Lord Krishna. So these pastimes, when we say the gopis, sometimes we say the gopis are ordinary village girls. Can ordinary village girls understand the content of euphemisms? No. And therefore, our scriptures are so deep and so profound. And essentially, in the case of this Pulaska and Govardhan, Govardhan was affected by the curse of Pulaska. Akura got affected by the offense of taking, he offended the gopis, the Vrajabasis, by taking Krishna away from Vrindavan. One would have thought, Akura is a pure devotee, he took Krishna away, so what? And what is the proof of Akura's incurrence sinful reaction? Some of you may remember the case of Satyajit. Akura and one other great devotee conspired. They wanted to assassinate Satyajit. And the commentators, they raised the issue that here is a pure devotee. Akura is very close to Krishna. How could he ever think of assassinating somebody? In fact, recently, one devotee in the West Coast, he sent me a message on WhatsApp and said, "Maharaja, I'm reading this portion of the Bhagavatam and I'm confused. How could Akura is a pure devotee, how could he ever even think of this?" But the answer, I told him, look, read the purport properly. The answer you are seeking for is right there in the purport. The commentator said, because Akura committed an offense against the Vrajabasis by taking Krishna away. But they were not happy. If they were happy, they would have come to lay on the road that Krishna should crush them with their... No. Pulaska, who is it to cause Govardhan? And therefore, this period of the year, this month is the best of months. This is a month to recommit ourselves in devotional service. This is a month to rejoin devotional service. This is the month to retake our vows in devotional service. What does that mean? It means we should be able to reinvent our strategies for devotional sustainable growth right here and now. Because according to the Puranas, any type of service we render this month, the result is about 1,000 times compared to other months of the year. So whatever you do, whatever studies you perform in this month, you get amazing results. At the same time, if one could ask, so what happens if I offend somebody this month? I don't know. So, devotional life is very juicy, is described as Susukam Abhya. We should be blissful, we should be happy conducting ourselves in devotional life. And therefore it is important for us to work together to see ourselves as agents of spiritual change, and if we make some conscientious effort in creating a viable future for ourselves and for our immediate families, we can talk of loving Krishna when we're not able to love the people around us. And that becomes like a joke. We could be in the mode of joking when we talk about love. The devotional service is all about love, but love for who? Pure love for Krishna. At least if we don't have pure love for Krishna, we should have mundane love for our family, for our kids, for our spouses. What's wrong with that? Because we talk about the pure love. Huh? This is the moment to recommit ourselves to our spiritual leverage. How many people here are chanting every day 16 rounds? 16 rounds. Okay, if you are not chanting 16 rounds, yes, that's not a problem. How many people are chanting up to 8 rounds? Up to 8 rounds. Good. How many people are chanting 0 rounds? Someone is getting off his hand there. All right, there's not a problem. But this month, the point is, this month is a good time to reinvent our determination in devotional service. This is a good time to start something. If we have not started, this is a good time to start something. Look, this is a time to learn to love Krishna. Yasoda bound Krishna with a robe, but it is described in the second text of the Dhammarastaka, Bhakti Vasudeva. She bound Krishna with the robe of love. But see, we are in America. Don't go to your home and then your child does something nasty and then you carry a rope and bound the child. Because you go to jail here in America, okay? Don't try it. Krishna enjoyed it. So, what is important for us is that Govardhan is a precious gift for the denizens of the earthly planet. And this Kartik month, during the parikram, we find devotees going to do Govardhan parikram. Rupa and Sanatan, they were doing it until in their late old age. And even right now, in the Radha Damodar temple, there is a representation of Govardhan here there. Because Sanatan was still embarking on the parikram of Govardhan, and Krishna came to him and said, "You're too old to go on doing this." He said, "I've taken a vow." Even the Lord comes to intervene. Don't do this again, you're too old. I've taken a vow. And then Krishna, out of his compassion, he stepped on the Govardhan stone and said, "All right, we use this 4 times, it represents parikram of the big Govardhan." And so Krishna is always very much compassionately disposed. When we take one step towards Krishna, it takes several steps towards us. He wants to see what we're desiring. And this is the bond. If even we can't do anything, just desire to do something. Desire, positive. See, everything begins with desire. This is why you have on the billboards, they advertise all of all of this nonsense, and then they tell you, desire it. Because everything begins with thought, contemplation. Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna mentioned that. It begins with contemplation. And so this is a nice period for us to reflect about, first about the background of Govardhan, where he came from, what is the history of his appearance. There's a lot of pastimes on Govardhan, Krishna pastimes on Govardhan. That is the very place where Lord Krishna goes to, Krishna and cowbell boys, where they do their patching, the patching ground, all the wonderful feeds for the cows, and the cows are gotten in Govardhan. And Govardhan is still there, and so sometimes people, the Western historians or Western philosophers, they talk about the Govardhan or Vrindavan or Krishna's pastimes, and they say this is mythology. And sometimes it could be it's so haunting. Mythology means something that does not exist. It means it's something fictional, something you imagine. The Krishna was on this planet. He had wonderful pastimes on Govardhan Hill. That is also the very place where he had a number of these demons exterminated. Lord Brahma came to test him there. Lord Brahma saw how he was little boy, the brother Basis are worshipping him. They say he's the supreme. What? This is my supreme Lord? Lord Brahma praises, he worships Krishna. But then he was wondering, how could his Lord come to, at the time appear in this small form, and then people are worshipping him. So he took cow boys and the cows and hid them in a cave of Govardhan Hill. And Krishna did not make any fuse about it. He just replaced all of the cows, the cows and the boys. And so Lord Brahma went away. And then he came back and he saw that the guy is undeterred. It's not disturbed at all. He saw everything was still going on normal. So he went to check in the cave where he hid the boys, and they were there. And the kids, and the cows. So a lot of pastimes took place on Govardhan, and there are literatures that have been written about Govardhan. The essential thing for us is that if we do visit Govardhan, how many people have seen Govardhan Hill here? I've seen Govardhan Hill. Okay, thank you. It's a real lifetime scenario. It's right there in Vrindavan. Very serenic place, holy place. So we try to, you see, the Christians and the Muslims, they endeavor every year to go to Mecca and, what do you call it? Jerusalem. Yeah, they take their religion very seriously. They go on pilgrimage. We should also arrange to go on pilgrimage. We are going to Disneyland. I'm sorry. What about visiting Govardhan? And see, there are a lot of opportunities. If you are exposed to Krishna consciousness, teachings and practice, we should also be very practical. These things we're talking about, we should also visit. We should go and see for. I remember one of my friends, this guy, he read one of my publications when he was doing his PhD. And he became attracted to me. So then we became friends. Then he finished his PhD, he became head of department for one federal university. And since then, we've been good friends. I remember one time I went to the country, he organized a big faculty program. I got all the devotees in the nearby temple, and we got them flooded the whole of the university with book distribution. And look, this is a professor. He just read from the books about Krishna pastimes. And he wrote me one time, he said, Maharaj, I want to go to Vrindavan. I said, what? You want to go to Vrindavan to do what? He said, I want to go and see the pastime places of Lord Krishna. And that someone you will say is just a mundane professor. And then plan ahead for it. So we are in the system. We are hearing about Krishna Katha. We come into the temple. We are also preaching. We should also strategize on how to go for pilgrimage, to go to these holy places. Especially places like Vrindavan, Mayapur. And there's one thing here. People are not cultured. And I've seen this, it's an all-pervasive phenomenon. Now people live, it's a good thing to go to India. It's a good thing to go to Vrindavan. But Vrindavan is not just a simple place that we just pack our bag and say we are going to Vrindavan. There is a procedure. There's a procedure. People need to be cultured on how to go on pilgrimage. I've seen so many people. I just came from the whole of August. I was in Europe. I was in Germany, France, Switzerland. I see they're organizing people to go to Vrindavan. I wouldn't say anything because I'm not the one organizing the people. But you see, if I'm organizing my disciples to go for pilgrimage, first they have to go to Mayapur. You go and beg for Lord Chaitanya's mercy before you go to Krishna. Vrindavan is not such a cheap place. Otherwise, you will commit offenses. You go to Vrindavan, you will see mostly it is dirty. Yeah, you will see the dirt. You will not see Vrindavan. So people should be cultured on how to go for pilgrimage. I beg you, because I've seen also a number of people living a long time when I joined. I've seen people who went to Vrindavan and they come back and then within 3 or 4 weeks they blew completely. I've seen that. Oh yeah. All right. We'll stop here. Any comments or questions? I think we have about 5 minutes for questions. Yes, please.
So Maharaja, Akrura was actually duty bound.
Huh?
Akrura was duty bound to Kamsa. Akrura was duty bound to Kamsa. So he had to pick up Krishna from the gopis.
Krishna Balaram, yeah.
Yeah. So what he could have done differently so that he not incur sinful reaction, because he has duty in his mind, and again he's incurring sins also.
Yeah.
So, what is your opinion about it?
Yeah, it's not really an opinion, but obviously, you see, when we engage in activities that are not ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we incur karma all the time. Even our professional works, we incur karma all the time. Even just by stepping, we incur karma all the time. We step on entities. That is why the material world is so dicey. Now, having that in mind, that you incur karma even in discharge of your duty, Arjuna was arguing with Krishna. This is a good point you raised. This is one of the main fulcrums, the hubs of Arjuna's argument. How he doesn't want to incur sinful reactions. And Krishna said, look, everything is coming from me. Not even a blade of grass moves without my sanction. I've already killed those people you have seen. It's not your making. You just go and get the credit. This is the position of a devotee. A devotee is carrying out the mission of the Lord. It is only in devotional service that you don't incur sinful reactions. Any type of team, any type of work we do, we incur some reactions. That is the bitter truth. Very cogent point you raise here. That is the bitter truth. And therefore, it is recommended that we give some percentage of our earnings in the service of the Lord to purify us of any inadvertent reactions we might incur in the process of our service execution. If we take the whole money and eat it by ourselves, we will get full-fledged reactions. But if we use some part in the service of the Lord cleanses us from the reactions. This is the difference. This is what basically is prescribed in the Vedic literature, that we should use some part of our financial gains in helping to spread the message of God. If we eat everything by ourselves, those who eat alone will fight alone. So we share the resources with Krishna. Krishna will take responsibility. Yeah.
So just a follow-up on this. So even in the from devotional service you mentioned, but it is like if I take my case that it is a mixed devotional service, not in the pure. So even that is taken into consideration.
You see, Krishna said, "Akama sava kama va moksha kama dhara di tifrina bhakti yogina yajita purusa param." This is the declaration of Lord Krishna. Now, if we go to some demigod, it's a different thing. The demigods cannot free us from sinful reaction. But Krishna says, you are free from all reactions, Akama, come to me. You are full of all reaction, you are full of all desire, Sarvakama, come to me. In other words, when you come and give the results to me, I will free you from the reactions. So devotional service, we might not be doing pure devotional service, but because we are doing it with the intent of pleasing the Lord releases us from the reactions. If we are doing it for ourselves, I mean, it's like, okay, somebody uses the Bhagavad Gita to make money to feed himself, okay? He goes to make some pravacha, and then he puts the money in his pocket. You get the reactions too, because you're not using the money to spread the message of God. But then, if we are running some service, there might be some mistakes in our service, but Krishna cleanses us protects us from the reactions. That is the concept of surrender. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, it's time. Ramchandra, is it time? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't want to jump the fence in terms of the time factor. This is America. Yes, but
thank you so much for the wonderful class. You said that in order to go to Vrindavan, you have to first go to Mayapur.
Mm-hmm.
So now if we have to go to Mayapur, what is the mood we should follow so that we can get maximum absorption of Krishna love?
This is a very powerful question. What is the mood? One devotee in Germany is going to they told me they're going to Vrindavan. Okay, the temple management is arranging for a group of devotees to go to Vrindavan. Now, I couldn't tell them otherwise, okay, but then I just mentioned that for you're telling me this, but go and read this book, so that you have a proper mood of how to enter Vrindavan. Otherwise, going to Vrindavan, you've never been to, say, a place like Mayapur to beg for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You're going to Vrindavan, it is very dangerous for your spiritual life. Therefore, what you do, read this book, read that, and then see how you can have proper frame of mind when you enter there. Because if you go there and then you have that, you perceive Vrindavan on the superficial level, you will always see cow dung on the road. You see some drunken man staggering here. I remember one day I was just coming from Parikram, from the 6 Goswamis temples, and from nowhere somebody just burst into me and was shouting at me, and the whole man was smelling alcohol. As Krishna will have it, a policeman just appeared from nowhere, boom, and banging me away. So, you asked a very nice question. We have to have a mindset of service attitude. Understand, I'm not qualified to come here. Because now Vrindavan is being commercialized. A number of people, frankly speaking, Prabhupada wanted that in Vrindavan, all the retired people, sannyasis should be there. But now, you know what happens? People are living there, and that is where they are procreating. That is where they stay there to do every damn thing. You know why there are many monkeys in Vrindavan?
They are devotees of Krishna.
Huh?
They are devotees of Krishna serving in some way.
Serving from there.
Serving Krishna in some way.
In some way, okay. We don't want to go into that. But going to Vrindavan, it could be very dangerous. So have a mind frame of the fact that I am nothing. I cannot understand Krishna's pastimes. And we should pray to Lord Chaitanya to help us. Yeah, if it happened that you're just going there without really following the proper physical route of going to Mayapur first. If somebody or you find yourself there, yeah. And there you should also read, like, Bhakti Vasudeva books or book on Vrindavan Mahatmya, so that you understand the different places and what the value of those places. Because if you don't understand the value, then it becomes a problem. You see it as like a forest. All right, we have to stop there because it's time. Again, thank you very much for coming to participate in this Krishna consciousness.